What does CGT stand for on the new CCM EFlex 7 pad? What's new in the glove break? What's stock? What's changed? Why is it the biggest improvement in a CCM glove in years? We've got answers to all those questions as we break down the new CCM EFlex 7 equipment here at the Hockey Shop Source for Sports, Goalie Utopia with Cam Matwiv. Cam, there's a lot of changes in this new EFlex 7 line, a lot of improvements.
Yes.
Where do you want to start?
Well, with the pad, that makes it the easiest, right?
Okay.
Well, first of all, look-wise, this just gives that appearance of almost an EFlex 4, doesn't it? Just to a bit of a degree. Just in the way the graphics laid out and whatnot. And now this isn't a bad thing, folks. I mean, EFlex 4 was by far CCN's most popular pad ever to date, except I think this might dethrone that a little bit.
Yeah, from a performance and feature standpoint, I gotta be honest with you, I've had a few of these and done the customizer for us, and that's the first time I've thought of that, but you know, I'll go with it. It is, however, EFlex 7, and there are a lot of new features on the pad itself. Start there.
100%. So let's start by looking at the face of the pad. So we still do have, again, that classic traditional shape look, but functionality standpoint wise, these are completely flat. So these are just more of like, I would even consider it like an indent inside the pad. Aesthetic, 100% aesthetic. So in terms of even as a rebound quality, you're still going to get more of that truer flat face kind of like rebound. Consistency, exactly.
More consistent rebound with the aesthetics of a knee roll. Let's be honest, a knee roll is largely sort of
aesthetic.
Well, it's symbolic though of a pad that is
I like that.
Softer.
Yes.
More form-fitting to the leg, more flexible. And that's what the EFlex 7
that classic almost starting to be vintage look.
Right. Yes. So keep going. Okay. Back.
So moving over to the back of the pad. This is where we start to see some of those differences. Starting even with the thigh rise too. Tapered up at that top, almost even giving you that little bit of a wedge shape. When you bring those pads together, that really helps to lock that in and get that nice seal between the two.
And if you have an overlap, it's less likely to get caught on each other. One will go in front of the other.
Exactly. Now, a couple of durability features really to call out before we flip over to the back of the pad. CCM has realized there's been some corner and edge rubbing. They've added some more high wear material to that corner as well to help prevent some of that edge rubbing that has happened in the past from that extreme kind of crossover of those pads. So, good added durability feature. Let's flip that over to the back and look at the back.
Cam. I don't think we should go to the back first. I think we should go to the inside.
You already want to talk about
Cross-Glide Technology CGT. I'm going to give it away early because it's the biggest features.
Well, give it away.
Speed skid's gone. Now tell me
look at it is gone.
Better.
It is way better. It's completely smooth. This is something that I've tried out. He's tried out. 100% notice a difference on ice through all ice conditions.
That's the biggest thing.
Yes. Now,
speed skin was great on fresh ice.
Exactly.
The ice broke down, which NHLers don't have to worry about, but us Joe Blows do. As the ice broke down, it got a little stickier. This, with their testing, slid better on fresh ice, slid better on worn down, sort of end of that period ice, or for those of us in beer league, end of the game, because we don't get a lot of Zambonis out there. It feels like it's harder.
Yes, the actual surface itself has been added stiffness to it that provides more rigidity to that slide surface. A, that's helping with your stability, and B, that's giving you more stable surface to push off of.
So what does CGT stand for? Cross-Glide Technology. We've seen their testing on it. It's a significantly better sliding surface than previous generations. Now, Cam.
So wait. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Now, in my humble opinion, I don't believe that it's necessarily better than anything else, but now it's no longer to a point where it was significantly drop off and worse than anything else. So I believe this brings CCM on par with some of the best pads in terms of for sliding, for sure. I think we've hit a ceiling. Like, how can you slide better than better sort of situation? I mean, we would all agree that the plastic slide surface of the Warrior pad makes it slide very easily. This isn't going to be the exact same as that, but I put this on par with a Bauer and even a Brian's, the Vaughn. I would say we've now got an even keel surface.
I think it's harder than some of those other models that have different materials. I'm thinking Brian's and Vaughn, I think it's a little almost more rigid on the inside. Interestingly, we've seen some NHL adoption from guys. We actually saw one guy who felt it was a little too fast. Jacob Markstrom was like, I prefer what I have already. I don't need it to be any faster. So that was interesting. So there is definitely a noticeable difference.
For sure. Definitely something worth coming because that question is going to come up. So let's flip it around. Now let's talk about the back. All right. Dynamic rotation strap makes its return. This is a similar strap that we've seen on CCM pads for the past couple of generations. Adjustable on the inside of the knee stack as well. That knee stack does still include their version of their integrated knee stack as well, providing more stability to the pad itself when you're dropping down into the butterfly.
So some rigidity, the pad's going to move with your leg, but a little bit more give than some, you know, when I think about it, this is probably closer to a Stabila Flex than a Stabila Slide.
That's correct, yes. To use a already coined term, we'll call it that.
Right.
Sure grip, now stock on the actual knee cradle itself.
Instead of that 3D molded.
Still an option to custom, but sure grip, a little bit of a nicer surface, a little bit more of a consistent landing. I prefer the sure grip as a recommendation.
As do most NHL goalies, which is one of the reasons they made the switch. If all your pros are wearing it, it makes sense to give this option as the stock one at retail. I gotta be honest with you, I kind of like the 3D grip personally. I found that it just was a little almost even taller. But this has got a nice soft landing area, like you said. A lot of guys prefer it. So this is stock. You can get the 3D grip if you want.
Remover out on knee wing, so that's nothing new for CCM. Opening the pad up, here's where we start to see some more of the changes. So first, their quick motion strap, their third version now.
What's the second S stand for? Quick
stability motion. Strap.
Strapping system.
System. We'll go with, it was another S. So the reason why I really, really like this system is now what we see here. In terms of that added adjustability on the fly, to be able to find that perfect fit for the calf, especially guys with a little bit bigger calves and whatnot. Removable, adjustable.
Size for calves.
Exactly. So at its tightest fashion, the pad won't rotate on me at all. I'm able to back that off completely and create a very open, but still have something there in terms of for my fitment.
Some people might think of this as their version of the Professor strap, folks. We did see in the first generation and the second generation, like one was a little tight, one was a little loose.
Yep.
This is the most adjustable, and I think it's great because the strap itself was good, but as you said, different goalies with different calf and different preferences.
Different strokes for different folks, and you're able to dial it in on the fly. I really, really like that. Okay, air nip all the way throughout the leg channel, giving this comfy, breathable leg channel.
And a little bit of extra durability material around the QMS. That's
Quick
great.
note, pro tip coming from Cam here, because you're going to be wearing knee pads, you should be. If you're wearing a knee pad, please have socks over top of your knee pads, especially for this style of a pad. The Velcro will wear on the air knit itself. They've added some durability in terms of adding that material over top of that air knit to help prevent some of that. It can still possibly happen. Remember, folks, cover that Velcro. You're going to make your pads last longer. Easy, easy tip.
All right, I don't know, just put your knee pads on properly and you'll never have that problem. But okay, Cam, whatever. What else you want to keep going here with the channel?
So
we got an extra strap.
Yeah, same closure of the overall like centered calf strap. So that one's easy. Lower calf strap. Removable if you don't want it. What we do find is that helps to close off that leg channel. Say your leg, you go out to make an extension save, your leg ejects from the pad to a bit of a degree, especially with a looser toe tie set up properly. This helps to kind of keep the pad with you a little bit more and stop you from basically overextending out of the pad itself.
Early adopters of this, we actually had it on our EFlex 6 as a custom options. Early adopters we saw in the NHL, Jacob Markstrom.
Used to be a pro-only option as well, now brought into because of that. Again, when you find out most of your pros keep using it, let's bring it down to the regular retail market.
And I love that it's included. You don't have to add it as an option, but it comes off so easily.
And if you don't want it, just get rid of it. Easy.
A little more connection down to the bottom of the pad. Now, interestingly enough, there is a bootstrap. Now, is this a your spec?
So no,
or does this come stock?
So no bootstrap. You can add it back in if you want. The pockets are there for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You don't have to custom order the option to have it in there.
No.
You can just add a bootstrap.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Soft boot construction with CCM's version, their push lace. So we
What
have
separates this version. This just looks like lace to me.
basically,
Which
but
is
you
great.
have elastics at the end. So if you still like, ideally, again, skate lace we still find is the best performing product.
Yes.
Again, with the proper amounts of knots. I think this is a little bit long. I'd probably shorten that up just to about there, depending on.
It's actually pretty close to perfect right now. Might be a little longer even.
So
Personal preference.
this allows that ability to still have that tie around the skate. You have that proper knot up front. You get that little bit of elasticity at the end. With that, I would still prefer switching it to laces, but to each their own.
Better than I think than some of the ones where it switches to elastic here, and we've seen on demos on the ice, we're still pushing off a post out of the reverse. Even if the elastic is after the knot, there's still give rather than instant transfer of power into your push.
Correct.
Okay.
So we've talked a lot about the pads.
Well, we missed one.
What? Go for it.
Cameron, you missed something.
Oh.
First
This is your
time ever.
favorite. Your favorite.
First time ever. There's a pillow. There's a pillow.
And it's not removable, so that means it's
Legal.
yes.
NHL legal. Now, interestingly enough, one of the reasons people are probably asking, like, hey, like, why hasn't CCM had a pillow in past years? Because honestly, by definition of the rules, it probably wasn't supposed to be there. But everybody else continued to have it, and there was never a problem, so now they've added it. What does it do for you? It gives you just a little more stability, a little more support when you're down in the butterfly. And the reason it was supposed to not be there in the first place, as you're dropping, it helps you get a seal quicker because there's this between your calf and the ice, just pushing that pad down. Maybe you got one skimming underneath, you're just a little late getting to the ice on. This might help you catch it under the pad.
Catching those squeakers. Okay. So,
Gloves.
yes. One of the biggest improvements so far that we've seen actually on a
Kind of
fiscal
almost
year.
like, not best for last, but best for second.
Yes.
Because the new 580 glove is exceptional.
See that? There's actually finger stalls in it too.
There
Can't really see that, but that's, I mean, trust me, it's not what you've seen previously from CCM. You have to try this on. You have to give it a look. Don't gloss over it because, no finger stalls. It doesn't have that anymore. We have proper finger stalls. We have a proper closure. We have a proper feel.
There's a reason they've gone back to calling it the
Yes.
580 instead of the 581 or making it the 582. It's not the same internals. So they didn't go right back to what they used to do because the reality is that was still a heavier glove. And other companies had cut weight. So this, with the new the new backhand, which we've always liked, we've been a big fan of that.
The cross form.
Cross form strap really allows you to lock it in. It's got the strap across the top as well. More adjustability in the fingers, the return of finger stalls, but a closure and a pocket that is very much 580 in origin, with internals that allow it to be lighter weight than the original 580.
You can really feel that, like
It's-
right
yeah,
away off the bat.
definitely.
Like
It makes a difference.
Honestly, folks, this is one of the best feeling gloves off the wall this year so far.
And it closes off the wall, which was an issue in the past generations. We said it in our reviews. It
Yep.
required more break-in period. This does not, to the point where, Cam, you've ordered Pro Palms instead of Game Ready for some of your stock gloves?
Yes, some, not all, but we do have Pro Palms mixed in with our Game Ready Palms as well. We do find that, yeah, it was the same consistency of closure right off the bat. So why not get that little bit of extra padding and not lose anything in terms of for your closure?
Now, just out of curiosity, is the single tee you have in your hand just a hockey shop spec, or is that stock?
That is stock. So stock is single tee for these guys.
Okay.
Double tee would be something that we would do with custom order, for example. But
there's also a floating tee you can get.
yeah, there's a few options here that are fairly interesting here. So stock, they have a single tee with an added +1, so NHL illegal. Similar thing with that floating tee, the +1, NHL illegal. That said,
There's a floating tee without the +1 that is NHL legal.
yes. So you've got options.
Some of the other changes in the glove in terms of, I know what I was going to say. I was so enamored with the way it was closing. A reminder, folks, 580 is stock,
Yes.
590 and 600. So if you order it in CCM EFlex 7 on the custom, it is the new generation with all the new internals, and the finger stalls are back. So it's not like if you go back and order, you're not getting last year's product. You're getting the new glove, the new build in those brakes. So it's that these changes are available right through the line, 580, 590, and 600 in custom, but 580 is stock. Last but not least, because this is getting long,
Yes.
the blocker.
I mean, hey, blocker's a blocker.
No.
It's a funny coin term. However, Kevin's kind of adopted this. I've been a big fan of the blockers. Like previously, I think this is a winning recipe that they have there. This has a great punch, great overall feel. It's definitely rivaling some of the other blockers out there for sure in terms of for that overall punch, if not even potentially a little bit better, just with its balance point.
Hexapalm.
Hexapalm.
Love the grip. It's
Double
available as a
thick.
custom option in the glove as well. If
Yep.
you prefer it, I really like the feel of it. One of the other changes, the finger protection. There used to be a seam here. Now it's all one piece. So just a little bit of protection if one rides up the stick. Of course, we've got the D30 on the inside finger.
Inside of the finger.
This has changed shape-wise, easier to get a stick in. On
Different
the
side wall too as
a
well.
little more reinforced. And of course, one of my little favorite things that you can do here with their cloth. I mean, it's already got pretty good motion, but really easy to open it up and give yourself full range.
And that was just by Velcro on the side. So, ladies and gentlemen, EFlex 7, definitely worth checking out this year. If you have any questions about it, you can give me a call, 604-589-8299 or 1-800-567-7790. Check it out on thehockeyshop.com. Or, if you would like to get your custom order ready, you just need to head over to CCM's website, design your custom set, and we can absolutely help you out with that.
Oh, speaking of, this is like a little Vegas colorway. Our boy Darren's going to be calling an order in this one, I think, for sure. A little settled gold, just a dark gray. Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, Kevin.